بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Hello my dear students, welcome to a new meeting. Today we are going to have Unit 6, Lesson 3. Let's start. First, open your students page. Open your students book on page 86, Language and Context. Read about Ali's lifestyle. Give advice to deal with his stress using should, ought to, or had better. Ali works 10 hours a day in the office. بيعمل لمدة 10 ساعات. What advice should you give to him using should, ought to, and had better, which are meaning ينبغي and followed with the infinitive بيأتي بعدهم مصدر. Take work to do at home. بياخد كمان عمل معاه لينهيه في المنزل. Drink a lot of coffee. يشرب قهوة كثيرا. Spends an hour and a half in traffic on his commute. بيستغرق حوالي ساعة ونصف من منزله إلى عمله. Doesn't have time to exercise. ليس لديه وقت للتمارين. Rarely goes out with friends. نادرا ما يخرج مع أصدقائه. Hasn't had a vacation in 2 years. لم يأخذ أجازة منذ عامين. These are unusual or unnatural, abnormal habits and behaviors. We want to advise Ali related to these topics. What advice should you give him? Yeah, he ought to work less. He shouldn't work on weekends. He ought not to drink a lot of coffee. He should move closer to work. ينتقل إلى مكان آخر يقيم بجوار العمل. He'd better start to exercise. He should go out with friends more. He'd better take a vacation. Okay? Now we are going to listen to 3 teenagers who are talking to Dr. Wise about their problems. Complete the chart. We are going to listen about Harvey, Adil, and Saeed about their problems with Dr. Wise. Listen to complete the chart.
5. Listening. 3 teenagers are talking to Dr. Wise about their problems. Complete the chart. Conversation 1.
Now, Harvey, what seems to be the problem?
Well, doctor, whenever I look at myself in the mirror, I feel terrible. I'm putting on so much weight.
Do you ever work out? Do you exercise?
Not really. I spend a lot of time sitting at my desk playing games on my computer.
What kind of food do you eat?
I have the usual pizza, beef burgers, fries, mostly fast food, but I don't eat all that much.
It isn't just the quantity, it's the quality. You should change your diet and eat more salads, fruits, and vegetables. And you ought to take up a sport or do some other physical activity.
Can't you just prescribe some of those diet pills, doctor?
Conversation 2.
What can I do for you, Idel?
Doctor, I have a problem with my skin. Look at my arms and hands. They're really itchy, and I scratch all the time.
Have you talked to your parents about this? Have you used a different soap or something lately?
Actually, it was my parents who suggested I come and see you. No, I haven't used a different soap, and I know we haven't changed detergent, so I don't know what it is.
What have you been eating?
Meat and vegetables and some fruit. Fries, but I've always had fries. They've never done this to me. Oh, yes, cashew nuts. I eat loads of nuts because I do a lot of training for the football team, you know.
Well, Idel, I don't think you need to worry about anything as long as you stop eating nuts. Yes, I know they're really nutritious, but they don't seem to agree with you. And just to be on the safe side, I would advise you to stay away from all types of nuts and salty snacks.
Conversation 3.
So, Saeed, what's the matter with you?
I'm not sure. Every time I exercise or run, I feel really weak. The other day, I nearly fainted at school. And the strange thing is, I eat well and I watch what I eat. I try to avoid junk food. I don't eat any sugar. I don't use salt.
I've known you since you were a kid and you never had a problem. What made you give up salt and sugar completely? Did anyone encourage you to avoid them?
Well, actually, No, but I read some articles on the web, and they said that if you're a man, it's a good idea to be careful with food and to get regular exercise as prevention against high blood pressure.
Saeed, you're a young man. You've been strong and healthy since you were a baby. No wonder you've been feeling faint. You use up a lot of energy and you need calories, fuel for your system. Start with salt in your food. By the way, a little sugar won't hurt you, especially before or after practice. Your body needs it. The articles you read were probably addressed to older men, not teenagers like yourself. And don't believe everything you read, at least not yet.
Got it? So there were 3 problems related to these 3 persons, Harvey, Adil, and Saeed. We are going to complete the chart with the problems and the doctor's advice for each of them. Try to read and listen again and to complete the chart and revise it with this. Points. Harvey, the problem was he's gaining weight. What was the doctor's advice? About Adil, problem was he has problem with his skin. About Saeed, the problem he feels weak every time he exercises. So you are going to write the problem and the doctor's advice for each of them and to revise your writing with these answers. Now, related to pronunciation again, we are going to listen to a track which related to some verbs that have 2 or 3 word verbs. Let's start.
Page 86. 6. Pronunciation. A. Listen. Note that the main stress is on the second part of the 2-word or 3-word verb. Then practice.
Put off. I put off my new diet. Turn down. I don't want to turn down a friend who asks for help. Put up with. Ahmed has put up with the noise for a long time. Now he has had enough.
B. Read the advice website again. Find 2-word and 3-word verbs. Practice reading them aloud, putting the main stress on the second part.
So you are going to read the advice on the internet again and to conclude and find out the 2-word or 3-word verbs such as put off, يؤجل, turn down, يرفض, put up with, يتقبل سلوك سيء. Okay? Now you are going to talk about yourself. What are the most common problems for people you know? أهم المشاكل التي تواجه الناس الذين تعرفهم. Do you know people that are either easy or difficult to get along with? Why is that so? الناس اللي بتتقبلهم والناس الذين من الصعوبة أن تتقبلهم أو تنسجم معهم والسبب. Do you know anyone who eats too much junk food? How can you help? And so on. Try to explain and discuss their problems on your own. Now we are going to page 87 about the conversation. Underline the 2-word and 3-word verbs. Practice reading the conversation with the partner, stressing the second part of the 2-word and 3-word verbs. So we have known now that we have the stress on the second part. التشديد على المقطع الثاني من الأفعال التي تحتوي على كلمتين أو 3. Now listen to the conversation and try to say and repeat the 2 and 3-word verbs. Start.
Page 87. 8. Conversation.
Hey, Mohammed, you look upset. What's the matter?
I'm feeling down. It's all these exams coming up. There's so much pressure and everyone's calling me all the time to ask about this or that. When I'm out, they're constantly calling me on my cell phone to ask for help. If I say I can't speak, they want to know what time I will be available and where I will be so they can come over or call again. Why don't they call someone else?
You ought to talk to them. and explain that they can't expect you to be free to help everyone all the time. You have work to do as well.
I tried talking to them, but they say I'm being selfish and looking out for myself and nobody else.
They probably think you don't need to study. You know it all anyway.
Seriously? Of course I need to study. I don't remember everything we've done. Do you get calls from classmates?
Sure. They're pretty nervous about calling you, so they call me first to find out what kind of mood you're in. To be honest, I would be really happy if you talked to them. I don't know what to say to them anymore.
Got it? So the problem with Muhammad was that his all colleagues in the class or at school calling him all the time to ask him for help, and it causes a certain problem, another problem to Hussein himself, because they call Hussein to ask them or to ask him about Muhammad. Now begin with real checking. Feeling, what the meaning of feeling down? Feeling down, feeling depressed, محبط أو مكتئب. Look out for myself, think only, أناني. To be honest, an expression used to make a statement stronger, لكي أكون معك أمينا أو بشكل صريح لكي تجعل الشخص يثق فيك أكثر. Now discuss these questions about the conversation. What's Muhammad's problem with his classmates? مشكلة محمد مع زملاء الفصل. قلنا they call him all the time, بيتصلوا به طول الوقت ليطلبوا منه المساعدة. What advice does Hussein give him? ما النصيحة التي أعطاها له حسين? Why does Hussein think their classmates keep on calling Muhammad? لماذا يتصلوا به دائما? Why do the other students call Hussein? لماذا يتصلوا بحسين؟ لكي يسألوا عن محمد. How does Hussein feel? كيف شعور حسين? What does he want Muhammad to do? وماذا طلب من محمد أن يفعل? Try to revise the conversation again and try to answer these questions and revise the answers with these model answers. Okay? Now your turn to talk about a certain problem. Prepare a conversation with a friend. Which a friend asks you for advice about a certain problem. Present the conversation to the class or to your brothers. Now reading. But before reading on page, we are now on page 88 on our student's book. Before reading, write what you think are the main ingredients that attract people to junk food. Share your answers with the class. حاول ان انت تكتب اهم المكونات والمقادير التي تجذب الناس لتناول الوجبات السريعه. List the factors that normally lead people to become addicted to junk food. ما الذي يجعل الناس يدمنون على هذه الوجبات السريعه؟ المحتويات التي يضعونها لجذب الناس ليجعلوا نكهة الطعام جيدة and so on. Now try to listen.
Good eating habits contribute to health and fitness and make you feel strong. What is so good about a diet of vegetables and fruit combined with lean meat, preferably chicken or fish, you might ask? If you are very tired, hungry, and upset, there is nothing better than a juicy beef burger with fries or a giant pizza, you think. That's probably true if your brain has gotten used to the pleasure felt when tasting junk food. But is it good for you? Does it help you stay fit and control your weight? How do you feel after you've had a meal? Are you sure it's not time to break the habit? Breaking the habit. Getting healthy. The following is a checklist to help you decide if it's time for you or a friend to change eating habits. Just one warning sign should be enough reason to take action. You shouldn't think junk food the minute you start feeling hungry. There never is an acceptable reason for this. It is a definite sign of a habit that is on the way to becoming an addiction. Comfort eating is usually associated with junk food and, in general, high-calorie food that is also high in carbohydrates, starch and sugar, and saturated fat. If you run to the nearest fast food chain every time you feel down, you know it is out of control. A healthy, nutritious meal does not have to be bland and boring. When pushed, you can picture appetizing dishes that do not contain fries or fatty ingredients, but you still prefer to get a hold of a beef burger or a pizza. You know it's not the best food for you. You know that you are going to feel sleepy and tired after you have eaten. To be honest, healthy is a relative term. It all depends on what your alternatives are. There are healthier choices you can make, even at a fast food restaurant. You might, for example, order salad as a side dish instead of a second helping of fries. You could avoid condiments such as ketchup or mayonnaise, or eat a chicken burger. You know all this. You have promised yourself to do it next time you are there, but somehow it never happens. You keep insisting that those dishes take longer to prepare. But breaking a habit can leave you feeling down. Don't worry, this is quite common, and it shouldn't last very long if you stick to your decision to give up junk food. You ought to decide on your own if it's best to cut down on the amount of junk food you eat gradually over a period of time, or whether it's best to stop altogether for some time. You should allow yourself some time to do it successfully. You shouldn't give up simply because you were with friends and joined them for dinner at a fast food restaurant, or because you helped yourself to a few fries. Pick up some menus from different restaurants and read them carefully, paying attention to the ingredients of each dish. Then, highlight the dishes that you find interesting. You might go to the supermarket and wander around making a list of all the food and ingredients that you find attractive. If a friend insists on offering you junk food, turn down the offer and treat yourself to something nice. The important thing is to regain control and only eat junk food when nothing else is available, or very occasionally for a change. Make a list of all the things you enjoyed doing, but had to give up because you gained weight or do not feel energetic enough. Decide what you would like to do again and when. Set yourself goals that are achievable and enjoyable. Treat yourself right.
Got it? Now, the topic is divided into different parts. The first part is talking about the harms and the bad habits of eating junk food all the time, related to the most important thing, which is our psychological factor and our thinking in our mind. When we feel hungry, we go fast to junk food restaurants. أول عامل العامل النفسي، عندما تشعر بالجوع بتفكر بداية في الوجبات السريعة. The second thing is the type and ingredients of the meal itself، مكونات الوجبة نفسها. While trying to change your habits، عند محاولة لتغيير عاداتك، first you think of to avoid some ingredients، حاول أن تتجنب بعض المكونات مثل الكاتشب، المايونيز، هذه الأشياء لأنها صناعية، وحاول أنك تستخدم بعض الابيتايترز اللي هي المقبلات الجيدة. Try to check some menus، حاول أنك تقارن ما بين بعض قوائم الطعام وتختار اللي فيها مكونات عضوية أكثر. Try to decide، حاول انك تقرر whether you can cut down this habit or to stop it gradually، أن تتوقف عن هذه العادة نهائيا أو تتوقف بالتدريج. Then you can get some things from the supermarket and to do your meal yourself. حاول انك تجيب المكونات من السوبر ماركت وتعد الوجبة بنفسك. And try to treat yourself as a human being, not to eat things that harm you or hurt you all the time. Okay? After reading, answer true or false according to the information in the reading. Number 1, eating habits can probably affect the way one's brain operates. Is it true or false? That's true. Number 2, associating hunger with fast food is a sign of addiction. طبعا ربط الجوع بالوجبات السريعة دايما بالتفكير في أول لحظة في وجبة سريعة ده بيؤدي إلى إدمانها. That's true as well. Number 3, comfort eating is associated with healthy food. أكيد طبعا ليس كل الراحة، بعض الناس بتجد الراحة في تناول أي طعام أو وجبات سريعة ضارة، ولكنه يجد السعادة عند تناولها. Number 4, if you can't stop eating junk food immediately, there's no hope. No, you can stop it gradually and cut it down, not at one time. Complete the following sentences based on the reading. You can read them on your own and complete them from the topic and to revise your answers with these model answers. Okay? The last thing is a discussion related to your own opinion and your point of view related to junk food and your image and discussion and guess related to how to stop or how to cut down the junk food and to keep you healthy. That's for now. Waiting for you the next lesson إن شاء الله. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
مدارس رياض الصالحين، مستقبل واعد لجيل صاعد.